go ahead and do a walkthrough of starting how to create our title sheet for our construction drawings that we're going to use to document the design of our tiny home. So right now we end up having our completed tiny home. So we have the design, we have some of the site plan elements and everything, and now we're ready to go ahead and start putting that onto drawings. So I'm going to go into my project browser and scroll down until I go down till I find the A101 title sheet. So if I double click on that, in previous videos, we've already kind of maybe used this sheet to put some of our drafting views on. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of these drafting views. So all I got to do is select and press the delete key. Or if I select it and then right click and select delete, I can go ahead and pull those views off of there. So the title sheet is really going to be kind of the beginning of what we're going to start off with. Is we're going to have an image of our design. We're going to have a title, and then we're going to have something called a sheet index, which is going to be kind of like a table of contents for all the drawings in the sheet set. So to start off with, I'm going to go ahead and while I'm on here, you're going to notice a lot of our tools when you're on a sheet kind of get grayed out because we don't really model anything on these particular title sheets. So we're actually going to be grabbing views and just dropping them on there. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and go up to the Annotate tab. You'll notice we got a lot more options here, but I want to go ahead and grab the Text tool. The Text tool, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to draw kind of like a text box here. So it's like drawing a rectangle. And I'm going to go ahead and start typing in, and I'm going to go ahead and do in all capital letters, tiny home design. So most of the time, a lot of your architects and engineering professionals will use all capitals to make sure that communication is clear. I'm gonna go ahead and select close. You're gonna see it's gonna be very small on our screen. So actually what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go over to, you'll see the text is 3/32 Arial. We have a few other options. We have an 1/8 inch Arial. So if I right click and select cancel a couple times to stop creating text, and then I'm gonna select this one. And then let's change the type. We can go to a 1/4 inch Arial, which gets a little bit larger. 1/8 inch Arial, you can actually see the changes. So I want to go off of the 1/4 inch Arial, but I'm going to go ahead and edit the type. And in this case, I want to duplicate. This one here, I'm actually going to get rid of the 2 there. And let's go to a 1/2 inch Arial. I'm just going to name it that and select OK. The one thing I'm going to change here is the text size category. So go ahead and change that to 1/2. Select OK. And then you can see this is going to get a lot larger. Our text box, we can kind of condense down if we want to, look at doing so. We can also move it by the corner up here, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of place this right about here. And we're going to go ahead and do one more while we have the text option here. You can also grab the text tool right up here in the quick access toolbar just because it gets used a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw another text box up here in the upper left corner. This one is going to be sheet index, and I'm going to go ahead and click off of it and just hit cancel here. Once I get some title, I'm going to go ahead and go with like a 1/4 inch Arial there, just that way we can see that a little bit clearer. And anytime I want to edit a text that I've already created, I can just double left click on it and I can go ahead and do that. So I do want to go ahead and put an underline on this sheet index, and then I'm going to hit enter, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look and see like what kind of sheets are we going to have in here. Well, we're going to have A101. I'm going to actually, if your underline's still going, let's highlight that and then underline what that text looks like. We'll do title sheet. A102 are the elevations. A103 is going to be a floor plan. A104 is going to be a furniture plan. A105 will be the sections. And then A106 will be something called schedules. So all this does is this just allows us to be able to put in just a listing of like kind of like a table of contents of everything that we have here in the sheet. And so I'm going to go ahead and just place this in the upper left-hand corner. And then that way we have that. Tiny home design shows up here. So then the only thing we're really missing is an image that we want to put to show what this design looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and move back to my 3D view to make that happen. And either one of two things. Either I can end up having a rendering of this view, or a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go to the site plan, and then I'll go ahead and drop a camera. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the View tab, hit the drop down, drop a camera on here, maybe from the road. get a view like this, and maybe something along these lines. Actually, I like kind of the outline of this here. If I want to change the visual style to realistic, maybe I just want to go ahead and stick with that as my particular view. So I'm actually going to go up here and just grab render. The render dialog box will pop up. I'm going to go with maybe about a medium quality. Let's try high quality. And I like really a lot of the settings that are there, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit render. And I'm going to let it do its thing. All right, now that this is rendered, I really like the image that it generated. So I'm going to go ahead and select Save to Project. It's going to ask me, what do I want here? I'll put Tiny Home Rendering. And then select OK. And then I'm going to go ahead. It says, if you have one from previous videos, you can either replace it or you can rename it. If you say no, we'll go ahead and I'll say Save to Project once more. We'll say Tiny Home. We'll put Exterior Rendering and then select OK. All right, I can close that rendering dialog. I'm going to go ahead and move back to the A101 title sheet. Since we've already opened it, it'll be right here on this tab. And then I can go ahead and find in the renderings, here is that tiny home exterior rendering. I'm going to click, hold down, and drag and add that to the view, and then click to place it here. Now, if I want to adjust the size of it, I can go ahead and double click on it. I can then select the image. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of blow this up just a little bit so that way it will actually kind of fit the page a little bit more. And this will look pretty good right about here. So I'm going to double left click off of that. The tiny home design, if I need to adjust it, I'm just going to kind of place it above kind of where it is. And then the little view label, I'm going to drag down here. And in order to get this line to go all the way to the cross, I actually just have to select the top part of this, or the image itself, drag, and then left click off to be able to make that happen. So that right there is going to be how to create your title sheet for your tiny home design. And just keep watching the next series of videos to see how we're going to finish out all the ones that we have listed there on the sheet index.